cowboys. All right. Hallelujah. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Oh, staples. We don't want staples here. Okay. There we go. Oh, all right. So today really is a special day, isn't it? It's a special day. You know, first of all, we got to welcome in the new prayer team members and honor our prayer team, you know, that they're here to support you, to create a space where you can see a higher possibility for your life. You don't have to stay stuck in the problem. I mean, isn't that a miracle right there? Just to know you don't have to be stuck in the problem. You know, it's like they open this energetic doorway so that you can see the blessing on the other side and then make it easier for you to go and claim that blessing. That's kind of where, you know, how they support. We're so supported on all sides. And then with our wonderful board of trustees who bring their talents and their energy and their love, and they serve in the capacity for both, you know, ensuring the financial stewardship of this community, but also to ensure that it grows and expands. And as I mentioned, taking the hundreds of other things that you don't even know about because they have dealt with them before they become a problem. So don't you feel totally supported in every possible way? Yeah, absolutely. And it's also special because, well, it's the first Sunday in March. We celebrate the first Sunday in March and celebrate the first signs of spring. How much are you loving seeing the daffodils? Hills of daffodils and forsythias beginning to come out and red bud. I love red bud. You know, it's just such a hopeful, affirming sign. The world's coming back to life. Pretty soon, it'll all be an explosion of color. Now, before the new life begins to grow, of course, you know that the trees and the bushes and the plants had to release what they had in order to make it through the winter cycle. You know, it's a common theme. Mother Nature must shed and release what's not serving it at the time in order to grow and expand and express more of its magnificence in the new season. Well, in a similar way, and I know you know what I'm going to say, in a similar way, in order for us to express our full magnificence, we must release what is no longer serving us, which is the idea behind Unity's version of Lent. Unity's version of Lent is a little different. It's not about giving up certain foods or certain drinks or certain behaviors. I mean, maybe that's good for a while. I'm not quite sure how that adds to your spiritual growth. You're just missing those things you don't have, and then so when you're allowed to have them again, you just kind of overindulge. No, that never happened to you. Human nature, it's human nature. So unity is about this period of time is really a period of time where we are releasing limited, negative, judgmental thinking. And so for us to prepare for spiritual growth and transformation, or to prepare for any new venture or endeavor or a new mission in life, we want to first investigate and explore and identify limited perceptions, narrow, negative thinking, beliefs, old ideas, fears, resentments, regrets that would hold us back from that kind of growth, that would prevent us from moving into that place that we want to grow into. And then when we identify them, rather than just fasting from them for a while, we want to release them, completely release. Heal and release, let it go. And every year, we have an opportunity to release another layer. And that's what it is, like the layers of an onion. We have this opportunity to release another layer of that. So, Lent was really an invention by the church. It's not really mentioned in the Bible. The 40-day, of course, is, many times, the 40 days. And, it's my understanding, I didn't grow up in a Catholic church or that tradition, but it's my understanding that Lent represents the 40 days of Jesus' sacrifice and fasting and being tempted in the desert to purify before his mission, right? So in Unity, we look at the Bible from a more metaphorical, metaphysical lens. All of the stories we look at that way because that helps us to bring them into our own consciousness and helps make it practical for us, right? So that's what we're doing. So the number 40 is significant. So significant that it is mentioned 146 times in the Bible. The number 40. 40, there's, the 40 days that Jesus, there's Elijah 40 days, there's Moses 40 days, right? Elijah, many others, right? Who else? Noah 40 days. Yeah, interesting, right? When you look at it all. It's this period of time. Elijah, 40 days of fasting and prayer in order to ascend the mountaintop. Now, that in Unity and New Thought, we look at mountaintop consciousness as the highest consciousness, right? The highest level of awareness so he could hear God's voice or the voice of the infinite divine within him. And Moses, that 40 days of, prayer in the mountains again before receiving the tablets. So the idea of 40 is significant. Now, traditionally 40 is kind of associated with a time of trials and tribulations and testing and other extreme difficulty. But I think there could be another perception here. We could open to another perception, another way of looking at this. So numerologically speaking, I checked with our resident shaman and numerologist, Oswaldo, who told me that 40 signifies as long as it takes. Have you heard that? As long as it takes. So as long as it takes to release those old ideas, those old resentments and the unforgiveness and the old beliefs and the fears and anything that would hold us back from spiritual growth, right, is as long as it takes. We don't have to have it done by Easter. Thank God. It's all symbolic, right? It's all symbolic. Now, Charles Fillmore, who was the founder of Unity, said that the ancient Hebrews saw 40, looked at the idea of 40 as 4 square. This idea of 4 square, which signifies solid foundation. The 4 corners makes a solid foundation, which I think is really interesting. Building this solid foundation on which to build spiritual maturity, a fully realized life, right? So let's explore this idea of the solid foundation. So in order to have, and I'm not a builder, but my guess is, in order to lay a solid foundation, before you do that, you want to clear the soil of all the roots and the rocks and the sticks and the stones and all the debris before you lay that foundation. Otherwise, you're going to undermine. It's going to be undermined. You can pour the foundation and build the building, and it might be okay for a while, but my guess is eventually it'll start cracking and ultimately fall apart, right? Because you haven't cleared the soil. Well, the same is true for our spiritual growth. We first want to uproot and release all of the things that would undermine our spiritual growth. All of those things that would undermine our efforts. We want to identify them and release them. So before we can release them, before we can work with it and release it, we want to see it. We have to see it first, right? We can't heal anything that we can't see. You got to see it in order to heal it. So the first step is finding what could be there. Now, this is sometimes not easy because a lot of this stuff is subconscious. We're not aware of it. This is where this skill of self-awareness comes in. Self-awareness is the skill that helps us to be able to see what's there, what needs to be recognized, so that we can deal with it. We can bring it to the light and we can heal it. So I know Chris Geith, if you're watching on the live stream, she can share this understanding that I have. We both went to the same seminary, One Spirit. And my guess is Unity Seminary, the same way, that first year is all about this, all about the self-awareness piece. You know, we spent a lot of time digging deep and getting to whatever is in there that would undermine our spiritual growth. Kind of important when you serve as a minister. You know, it's important for anybody for their own spiritual growth, but really important before you serve, you want to know what is in there and what could possibly prevent you from full spiritual maturity, and also, undermine your efforts at this. So this happened through, lots of reflection papers, right? You did that, probably doing that too. Yeah, Pat is in that first year. And we worked with deans in conversations and counselors and mentors, and we're supported by a wonderful a group. We had a support group, a study group that and it's really good to be supported in this because it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable, but again, necessary. So there are two ways that you can be supported in this skill of self-awareness so that we can go through this process. And one, we are so fortunate, timing, divine timing, synchronicity, we just so happen to be offering a class on self-awareness that is all about this. This is part of our Spiritual Explorers Week at the end of March. So a class in self-awareness. So mark your calendars. You want to register now because I'm telling you it's going to fill up. And it's taught by, this is the other blessing, taught by Reverend Nikki Golden, who is the most compassionate and loving and fun person to have, to be teaching this class. So it will be a gentle and loving way to go through this process of self-awareness. And Chris later will tell you more about how you can register for that. The second way that we can be supported in our efforts of clearing out the soil, right? Becoming aware of it and clearing it out so that we can build a solid foundation of spiritual growth and build, that beautiful building, that expansion of our lives to include an expansion of joy and abundance and well-being and prosperity and wholeness and community and connection. And that is journaling. Journaling is a really great way to uncover those unconscious beliefs that would sabotage our efforts. And I am such a big believer in journaling that we are going to give to you your very own journal to take with you to do this activity for this Lenten period. And for those of you who are live streaming, we will hold a copy for you, and you choose whatever time is good for you to come here and pick yours up, or in other ways, we'll figure out a way to get it to you, okay? But it is for you. But before I have the greeters pass that out, I want to bring your attention to your program, because there is a handout in your program that has a whole self-inquiry questions and some ideas for places to look for possibility. And you can use this as prompts in your journal to help with this excavation activity. So the first area that you might want to look, that's what I've put that in there. Do you have a program? Does anybody not have a program? Raise your hand. Yeah. Well, greeters will pass out if anybody does not have that. I want you to have that so you can take it with you along with your journal. So areas you might want to look: beliefs about yourself and what's possible for you. What do you believe is possible for you? And of course, before you do any journaling, you want to get yourself into a place that is comfortable and where you can really spend some time going within and listening to the voice of your inner wisdom and get that connection going. Get that a conversation going with your inner wisdom, right? So connect with that and ask these questions, and obviously be honest, otherwise it doesn't work. Resentments you might be holding of others. Painful experiences you've not been able to forget or let go of. Ways others behave that you can't stand, which is a clue that that same quality might be hidden, well hidden within you. In other words, a shadow self. We tend to reflect in others what we can't accept in ourselves. All right, so, and then the next section are just questions, journal prompts that may just spark some ideas for exploration. What scares me the most? What brings up my fear? When I can't sleep at night, what do I think about the most? What am I in resistance to? What needed change am I resisting? It's kind of another way to say it. Who would I be if I let that go? Who would I be if I let all this go? All the resistance. Whew. Is there anyone I'm having trouble loving or forgiving? Some laughter of recognition there. You might want to take a full page for a few pages for that one. Do I truly feel worthy of a joyous, love-filled, and abundant life? Do I feel worthy of that? And if not, why? Why not? All right, so if I could have the greeters pass out the journals. They're all different colors, and you can put your name. Obviously, this is just for you. Do not share with me. You don't need to share it with anybody, unless it's a prayer team member, if you want to. But this is all for you. To do this exploration work. And so let's spend the next 40 or so days in contemplation, contemplating these areas. And the next few weeks, we'll be working on how to release it. Okay, now that we've identified these things, how can we really release it? Let it go, not temporarily fast from it, but totally release it. You got one more, Mary? Oswald, you want to take one from Arlene? Yeah. Anybody want to take one for their... Do we have enough? Okay. We don't have enough? We need two more back there. Oh, well, okay. Okay, you got your own journal. Yes, please hand it to the people in the back there who these lovely ladies, so that they have their own. All right. Oh, thank you for sharing. This is such a generous. You guys are so generous and loving and always thinking of each other. It's really, really wonderful. One more. Okay. So imagine if by Easter we have identified and cleared out all of this debris, and we can lay this gorgeous, beautiful, solid foundation and build a life that is fulfilling and meaningful and joyous and full of love. Does that sound good? Does it sound like a good vision to go for? Those of you who are on the live stream, just put a yes in the chat if that sounds good to you too. You are doing this with us. We're doing this together. All right. Namaste.